Hi, Gene Burnett from GeneBurnett.com. Hey, I thought I'd make a little video today about Lady Works Shuttles. This is mainly for my students who are learning this movement, but it's also an interesting version of it, and maybe you will find it interesting and want to do it yourself. We're doing the Fair Lady out of Golden Rooster stands on one leg in our simplified form. This is a simplified form that's called the simplified form, but we're kind of do it in Master Chung style. Master Chung, Chung Da Chen, he came from an older Yang style lineage. It had some of the Chen style mechanics still in it. He also really loved Bagua and Xing Yi. So the result is that you have a form that's got rise and fall in every movement, opening and closing, and also accelerate and decelerate, and more of a sense of spiraling than a typical Yang style would tend to have. So we're doing the simplified form in that style. So this is definitely a different Fair Lady Works Shuttles than some that you may have seen, but I think it's a real good version and I like it. So we're coming into it out of Golden Rooster stands on one leg, so we're coming in out of this position. So I'm going to take a cross step to start. Take a cross step. Now, I'm not pointing my foot towards the corner that I'm going. I started facing this way. This would be the north-south axis. This is the east-west axis or line axis here. I'm stepping across that, but I'm actually thinking of my toe almost pointing backwards that way a little bit, rather than pointing it towards the corner. So I'm taking the cross step here, and when I'm teaching this, I usually have people just shift their weight to that foot and just relax this foot in front of you. So you're just in a back stance and you're facing the corner. This is so that we can break it down. 3 parts, and we'll just look at the right arm first. 1 is our version of rollback. So the typical rollback in Yang style is more of a twisting pull down. This is more of like the Chen style rollback. It's meeting and merging with something and leading that force off of your line. So 1 is the rollback. 2 is ward off, circular, protective wrist a little higher than the elbow. 3, the hand is going to roll up overhead like this, like you were getting faint or like you were doing stork cools wings. It's that kind of motion like that. So that's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Right leg. On the 1, you're going to lift your knee right under the elbow, like that. 1. On the 2, when you form the ward off, see my elbow moving to the side? My knee is going to be right underneath that. And I'm stepping a little off the center line. This is going to be my center line or my corner line. I don't want to step on that line because I'll be too narrow. In this style, we really emphasize balance and be able to defend ourselves from different angles. So we want a front stance that's more balanced here rather than a super long one. Just our preference. So on the 1, your hand comes up and the knee lifts with it. On the 2, your knee and your elbow over the knee, you've stepped out to the side, you've got the ward off. On the 3, the weight's going to go forward. I'm going to roll my hand up, it's near my head, and the other toe, back toe, is going to turn in and I'm facing the corner. So I'm going 1, 2, 3. Now, I want to put some up and down in that, some piston power from my left leg. Let's save a suicidal worm's life. It's a temporary solution to a permanent solution to a temporary problem. From here, cross step, settle, sinking into that left leg. I'm going to rise as the hand comes up, sink as I step and the ward off forms, rise as I go forward a little bit, toe in and settle at the end. Again, sink on the left leg, rise, sink, rise, settle. Now let's make that more spiraling. So what is a spiral? It's an up and down with a turn. So now, from here, I'm going to cross step, sink, rise and turn. Sink and settle. I'm still kind of turned. Then I'm going to push and square myself, so I'm unturning myself and coming to that position. We haven't done this yet, so I shouldn't have done that. I'll just doing the right side of the body. Rise, turn, sink, settle, push, and settle. So again, that's sink into the left leg, rise, turn. So the turn happens late in there. Then sink and settle, push forward and up. Now, the backhand is going to swell a little bit on the one, almost like you were just painting the floor. The wrist is loose, but I'm going to swell in a specific direction. I'm going to swell the direction my back foot is pointing, if I was doing it this way. So I'm going to swell in the direction my back foot is pointing. On the 2, my hand's going to come around and it's going to sit on my hip like I had a pie in it. On the 3, I'm going to smush that pie into the face of my imaginary friend here. So the physics of that are very similar to actually putting a pie in someone's face. You don't turn the pie over and then try to find the face. Right? From here, you push and you turn it at the last minute. It's not in front of your shoulder like a brush knee and push. It's in front of your center line, so it angles in a little bit in front of you. So just like on the right side of the body, the leg lifting and the turn of the waist is what kind of swings your hands around. What you're not doing on the first one we were working on the right side of the body, you're not going like this. You're not moving your arms and leg independently of your legs and core. You're just independently, all you're doing is lifting them. But with the rise and turn, it makes it into more of a spiral. See? And then through. So on the other side, and you'll see this a little easier when I do the other side, but the other hand, from here, I take the cross step, sink. Now on the 1 where I rise and turn, I do the swell. And the swell's going to the virtual east, because I started facing north. And then when I make my turn, it naturally circles my arm behind me. And right when I step, I have this pie ready at my hip. So at this moment, elbow over the knee, weights on the back leg, pie is ready. I'm going to shift forward, rolling up this hand and pushing forward with that one. Here. So there's a real connection between these two. It's a lot like shoveling. If you ever spent some time shoveling, and I know you have, my friend here is a farmer, so he's done some shoveling. You work your back when you shovel. Put your back into it. If you shovel with loose arms, you're going to end up in trouble. So you've got to link it. So another way to think of it is like your arms are, your wrists are handcuffed together. This leg is pushing this forward, and they're handcuffed together. But the handcuffs break right here. Or if you were shoveling, the shovel breaks right there. So you want to feel this connection across the back here. Shoulder blades are down, so that, I'm going to exaggerate it, but it's this kind of motion. So that's what propels this forward here. So from here, cross step, sink, 1, left arm swells, right hand comes up, turn at the top. 2, step, elbow over the knee, pie is ready, ward off is here, push forward, and roll into the final position. If I was doing it right at you, you wouldn't see my face very well, because I want this hand right in my own face if I'm looking in a mirror, and the other hand is not out here, it's rolled back towards close to your head, there. So, initially it's good to break these down and pause and find your balance at each one. So you go here, 1, you go here, have your balance, 2, upright, weight here, foot in the right place, arm not up here but here, and then you push through, and and then in the 3 you hang out there and just say, okay, everything's cool. Eventually you can start to make those more flowing and connected, so that this circle here ends up melting into this circle here, which ends up melting into this circle here, and it becomes more fluid and connected. But having those different spots, you know, balanced and correct will really help the flow of it later. So what you're doing here is a very stylized, very artistic martial yoga kind of version of a martial art movement. It's not very practical as we just did it, because obviously you could watch 300 million street fights and you'd never see that move done even once. But to deflect something and then use this to pry open a little bit of space and then come through with a strike there, something like that, that is definitely more practical and usable. This just stretches it out, makes it studyable, makes it easier to look at, makes the circles really big and smooth and slow so you can understand the movements. Eventually you can shrink it down, so it's actually a fairly useful movement if you shrink it. So again, that's Golden Rooster, cross steps, sink, rise, sink, rise, and settle. To get to the other side, the other corner, we're going to shift the weight back and form a split. I'm going to make sure I'm visible here. Back. Hope this mixed lighting isn't too terrible. So back to the split. Then I'm going to take a cross step again with my foot almost aiming backwards. There. Extending the inside of my leg. Sink and relax into that right leg. On the 1, the left hand and left knee come up. This is swelling, so it goes behind you a little bit. And settle and step. Then push through. Right? So that's Fair Lady here, back to the split, cross step, sink, rise, sink, rise, sink. Both of these you end up with a front stance to the corners, not super long in our style. You should feel comfortable. You're facing either that corner or this corner. The upper hand is near your head. It's rolled up like this, and the other hand is shot through. So this leg is pushing this side of your body, which kind of pulls the other one underneath. And that's our version of Fair Lady Works Shuttles. I'm going to do it once without talking. As you go, you can also really focus on loosening and relaxing this arm. So the wrist is actually doing a little, the wrist is actually part of this circle, and then here, and then here. It can be, you know, each joint can be more or less soft and loose and spirally as you go through it. But we're just covering the basics here. So thanks for watching. Hope this was helpful. If you like this kind of thing, subscribe to my channel. I don't have ads on this channel, and probably never will, because I'm not big enough and I don't want to be. So if you'd like to help me out, there's a PayPal donation link down below. No tip is too small or too large. You can also visit GeneBurnett.com for more about what I do. And I hope this has been helpful, and thanks for watching.
You want me to take a look while you're over there, or?
The viewfinder is broken,
Oh, okay.
so there's nothing to see.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to try to stay between these two lines. I'm pretty sure that this is going to work. If it's not, I'll do it again. Alright, I got to do my little scoop. Hi, Gene Burnett from GeneBurnett.com. Hey, I thought I'd do a video today about Fair Lady Works Shuttles. This is mainly for my students who are studying our version of this movement. Our style is a little bit of an older young style. It has a little bit of Chen style type mechanics in it, rise and fall, open and close, and acceleration and deceleration, which aren't as typical in a typical yang form. Also, our teacher really liked Bagua and Xingyi. His name is Chung Da Chen, so he put a lot more spiraling and up and down into his form because of his connection to those arts as well. So it may not be exactly the way that you do it in your style, but I like it, and you may want to try it out just to see if it works for you, or if you're one of my students, this is how we do it. So we're starting in a wind fills ears. Sorry, we're starting in a golden rooster on one leg, or golden rooster on the right leg. So we're going to start with a cross step, and the foot's going to be in front of us, and if anything, the toe is going to be going away from you. So I'm not stepping with my foot, my toe going towards the corner. It's actually going away from the corner a little bit. So from here, it's going to be there, and I'm going to shift my weight to that foot. So when I'm teaching this, I usually just have people settle into that left foot and just put the right foot in front of them temporarily, like we just did. I had my student who's watching this. So just forget about the right foot for a second, breaking this into 3 parts. Just the right arm. 1, 2, 3. So the 1 is a rollback, as we do rollback. Yang style is typically more of a pull down, twisty movement, which we have, but we don't call it that. This is more like a Chen style rollback. So the hand comes up like this, elbow down, hand up, just like you were going to do this. And then 2, the elbow's going to sink and the hand's going to come down into a ward-off circular position. And then 3, we're going to roll that hand up over our head like we were getting faint, right? So that's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to add the right leg. So when the hand comes up, the knee's going to come up right underneath it. 1, 2, 3. So this is just very independent of the rest of my body. 1, 2, 3. So when I do the 1, I'm just pulling my knee up, letting my toe relax, point down a little bit. 2, I'm going to step a little bit to the right of my corner line here. This is my east-west line. That's where I started. So that corner line is there. I want to step to the right of that, so when I get there eventually, I'll have a balanced stance there. I'm not looking to have a super long, narrow stance. I want to feel really in balance, right? So from here, I'm going to take that cross step. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Now let's put some up and down in there. So from here, I'll make sure I'm visible here. From here, I'm going to step, sink into that left leg. I'm going to rise and use my left leg straightening to bring this up. Then I'm going to sink to take the step. And then I'm going to rise a little as my weight goes forward, toe in a little, and sink right there. So I'm in a comfortable front stance to the corner. So that's putting some up and down into this. So the up and down is sink, rise, sink, rise, sink. Now I'm going to put some turn into it so there's more spiral. So from here, I'm going to sink, rise, turn to the left a little, my left a little bit. Sink here, I'm still kind of turned to the left a little bit. Push forward, and as I square to the corner, my back toe turns in a little bit, and then settle into a front stance again. And that's rise and fall, and turn, right? So you have cross step, sink, rise and turn, sink and step, rise and settle. The backhand is going to swell a little bit on the 1. It's just going to swell a little bit. The same direction my back foot is pointing. On the 2, I'm going to circle around so that my hand's on my hip like I had a pie in my hand. And on the 3, I'm going to push forward. Same physics as if I was pushing a pie in someone's face. Just wham, like that. It's narrow though. It's not in front of my shoulder like brush, knee, and push. It's in front of my face, right? So the 1, 2, 3. You'll be able to see this a little better when I show you the other side. So here, cross step, sink. Let me get that a little bit. So from here, cross step, sink. On the one, this hand is going to swell the direction my left foot's pointing, and this hand's going to come up, the knee's going to come up, I'm going to rise, and I'm going to turn. So I go rise, turn. On the two, I'm going to sink and step slightly to the right, still here with my weight. The upper hand, the right hand came down to a ward off. The other one circled around to my hip, palm up like I had a pie in it. And I'm going to, as I go forward, I'm going to lift and push through. This ends up in front of my face. This ends up near my head. There. So at that moment, it's going to go forward this way. This is right up my midline. And there. So let's put that all together. So from here, cross step, sink, rise, sink, rise, sink. Cross step, sink, rise, sink, rise, and settle. Now to go to the other side, the other corner, we're going to shift backwards, slide the front foot in a little bit, and we're going to do a split, a splitting movement like that. So it's here to here. From here, I'm going to take that cross step with my right foot. Again, the toe almost hanging backwards a little bit. So I go here, sink and relax the hands, settled on that leg. 1, 2, 3. So it's important that these hands be connected the way we do this. It's like you're shoveling, and the shovel breaks. So there's a connection across the back, across the shoulders. When you do a lot of shoveling, it's your back that gets sore. They'll say, put your back into it. You can't shovel with loose shoulders. You have to firm them. So there's this connection, and it goes across the back. See, if you watch my back here, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but this is coming down, this is rolling up, but both shoulder blades are staying down. So I'm not going up here like this. I'm not doing that. All right, one more time from the top. Cross step, sink, rise, sink, rise, sink. Back to the split, rising a little, I guess, as you go back. Cross step, sink, rise, sink, and through. Initially, I would advise you to pause on each one of those. Pause and make sure you have your balance, so that when you're here, you're down in that leg. Rise and come up. You should be able to hang here for a second. Sink and settle. Your weight's still back. You can check your step. Make sure your elbow's over your knee. Make sure you're facing the corner. This palm is at your hip. Then push forward and settle. It's usually a temptation to do something like this. Instead, the upper hand rolls right near your head, just at the edge of your peripheral vision, and this hand is right in your own face if you were looking in a mirror. And then the split is here. You can pause there. You're blocking something here. Crossing step there, sink, rise, pause there, make sure you have your balance, sink and settle, make sure you have your balance, everything's okay, and then go forward. So what we're doing here is we're rolling back a strike of some kind, getting underneath it, and then pushing forward into their face or up in here. It's very stylized and not at all practical this way. You'll never see this in a street fight in a million years. But the idea of it is that, I'm trying to make sure I stay in view here, the idea of it is that you're blocking something here and then coming through there. So it's this idea. Block something here and then come back. That you'll see. Because when you do this and protect yourself here, you can move forward and you're making space. You're making space for this hand to come through. And in Shinyi, I think it's pounding. They do this kind of movement. You're rolling something past you while you drive forward with the other hand. This is just an open palm version of that. So, you know, we're doing a big martial yoga stylized version of that so that we can feel these circles nice and big and studyable. But what we're actually working on is this principle of that. It can be a lot tighter and a lot smaller. So thanks for watching. If you like this kind of thing, please subscribe to my channel. I do music videos, Tai Chi videos, nature videos, all this kind of stuff. And also there's no ads on this channel, so if you like to support this work, just there's a PayPal donation link down below. You can drop me a tip. No tip is too small, no tip is too large. We won't be having ads on this channel because I'm too small and have no intention of becoming big. So I make these videos to be helpful, but if you can help me out, I'd appreciate it. Thanks for watching, or visit GeneBurnett.com. Thanks. Ooh. All right. So you got to look at all the pieces. We'll see if that worked.